Hi class, today we're going to talk about fossils. And before we get started, I want to remind you that if I go too fast, remember you can pause the video at any time so that you can record all of your notes on this sheet. We're going to fill out the front side of this paper today, so please make sure that you're working through that sheet as we go. All right, as we talk about fossils, you need to get a little background information just so we understand what exactly are fossils and how they help us understand about the Earth's past. You can see one pictured right here, and you've probably identified it as a dinosaur fossil and probably as a Tyrannosaurus rex. I'm going to spend most of my energy and time talking about dinosaur fossils, and it's not because I think you're little kids who need to get excited about dinosaurs to learn something. It's because I could use other fossils like Foraminifera, Eurypterid, or Graptolite, but you would spend a lot of time figuring out what exactly is Mr. Sitter talking about. Whereas if I mentioned Tyrannosaurus rex or Brontosaurus or Triceratops, you don't get confused by those terms and you can still focus on the concepts about fossils that we're trying to learn. So that's why I'm going to do it. And the second reason is, you may or may not realize this, but Montana was awesome dinosaur habitat. And so there were lots and lots of dinosaurs in Montana, and therefore lots and lots of dinosaur fossils are found here in Montana, maybe more than anywhere else in the United States. So those are the reasons why I'm going to talk about dinosaur fossils as we move through our discussion of fossils. Okay, so what is a fossil? It's preserved remains or evidence of ancient life. And what that means is you think typically of fossilized bones or teeth or claws. It could be that. It could also be things like burrows, which is tunnels under the ground. It could be footprints, things like that, that allow us to learn about past species. It comes from a Latin word that means dug up. In order to be a fossil, it's got to be kind of old. And we usually find fossils in sedimentary rocks. And if you think about it, what you've learned about rocks, the reason why we don't find them in igneous rocks is because igneous rocks have to be melted in order to form. And metamorphic rocks require heat and pressure. And those two don't really preserve fossils very well. We do find some fossils in them, but most of them are found in sedimentary rocks because that's a gentler process. So the fossil record, what exactly does it show us? It shows us, number one, how life has changed and evolved over the course of the Earth's time here. So we see the extinction of species. We see the appearance of new species, things like the first fish, the first amphibian, the first mammal, the first land plants. Those things we can record in the fossil record. And it also shows us how the environment changes on the planet. When it was warmer, when there were ice ages, those sort of things are recorded by fossils. Obviously, if you find a mammoth fossil, you know that it used to be colder when that fossil was found. So those sort of things. A myth about fossils is that we have a fossil of everything that's ever lived. We don't, and we don't need one. It's ridiculous. We have so many fossils as it is, and our record is incomplete, but we have so many fossils we can still understand about the past on this planet, even though we have a limited record. We don't need a fossil of every creature that's ever lived to figure out what's going on. We have enough detail to see what's gone on in the Earth's past. Okay, so how exactly does a fossil form? It's a pretty rare process, and it doesn't always happen to everything that ever dies. And you can realize that very simply if you think about if you've seen a dead deer on the side of the road. Usually the dead deer is not by itself. There's a bunch of birds eating it. So the first thing that has to happen after it dies is it has to be in an environment that favors preservation of that fossil. So usually it's dry, it's hot, it's sunny. You're not going to have a lot of moisture. You're not going to have a lot of bugs. You're not going to have a lot of scavengers that are going to eat the organism before it can become a fossil. And it usually has to be buried quickly. And that also prevents decay. So by a landslide, a sandstorm, a mud covering it up on the side of a river or something like that, an ash from a volcano, all of these things can quickly cover it up before it gets decayed. And then you're going to have sediments that will cover it up, that will protect the remains further and preserve them. And then they get compacted and what we call mineralized or permineralized, which means minerals replace the bones and it becomes a fossil. And if the situation is right, then a paleontologist will find it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how an organism becomes a fossil. Okay, what you're going to do today is a worksheet. All the information is available for you on Google Classroom. So good luck with that.